Welcome to another episode of Power Alphas. I'm one of your co-hosts, Sabby Piscitelli, and as always, I got my beautiful, beautiful, beautiful tan-looking fiance here today. How you doing, baby?
I'm doing great. Wow, 3 beauties today.
Yeah, 3.
I like it.
That tan got it extra beautiful today.
Love that.
The tan.
Yeah, I got a nice tan.
That glow.
Well, today, thank you guys for joining, but today we have a special guest, and you may know him as one dope photographer who has shot me plenty of times, bikini shooting, fitness shooting, but I want to recognize today his amazing transformation that he has shown all of us the last few months. So without further ado, I want to welcome J.R. Hutter.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
What's up, brother? How you doing, man?
On? Same old shit, different day.
I love it, man. Listen, before we even jump into this, I just want to kind of give a quick background of, this podcast. We just love the relatability. We're big on physical and mental health.
Yep.
We are big on transparency in just accepting everyday life. I preach a lot about health, physical and mental health. And, I was even telling Mandy, you caught my eye on Instagram. I know you were at our house maybe about a year ago. And I don't know how far you were in this fitness journey, but I'm excited to dabble in today and just dive into your whole process. But before we get into it, talk a little bit about yourself. Talk about your background, childhood, how you grew up. Real quick, just give the people a little bit about yourself from the beginning.
Well, I was born in Long Island, New York. Stayed there till probably I was about 9. My dad got a job transfer to Palm Beach International Airport. He was the manager of U.S. Air. That's what brought me here. Grew up playing sports, baseball, soccer, all sorts of fun stuff. And then we'll shoot forward. Turned 18, joined the Army, did that whole thing, 4 years, spent a year in Iraq from 2003 to 2004.
Wow.
Got out, came back here, and then got into nightlife and the bar scene, and that's kind of where things kind of got rocky and, just lots of ups and downs since then. That's where we're at now.
So let me ask you a question about the military. What did you learn from the military that is something you use day to day today?
I knew you were going to say that. There's a few really weird things. One, when I'm hanging my clothes on hangers, I always have to make sure the buttons are to the left.
Wow.
That's one thing I kept. But honestly, my time management, actually, let's not say time management because that's kind of shoddy here and there. But just I'm always like early for everything I do.
You were early today.
Always.
Really
and
like
I think it's just something that was instilled in my head. Discipline, some discipline in some areas. I know that, just kind of trying to think of a way to put it, but just discipline in general. And then the fitness aspect, I think that's what originally got me into fitness was the military and going through PT and doing all the physical tests and all that stuff.
So after the military, you were how old when you got out?
22.
22, okay. So then when did you get into photography?
Oh, well, honestly, I've only been doing it now for 4 years.
Oh, really? Okay.
You want to hear that story?
Yeah, I'd love to.
So,
I thought you were doing it for longer.
No, I jumped right in, and it's funny. I was DJing for 15 years.
Okay.
And then I was dating a young lady, and she was doing OnlyFans modeling and stuff like that. She had me taking all her content, her pictures, and all this stuff, and we started doing some things together, and her and I ended up splitting, and I had spent thousands of dollars on equipment. So once she did that, I'm like, well, I've got to learn what to do with all this equipment and kind of do something with it. And I had a studio that we had built, and I started doing headshots, and I had a lot of good-looking girlfriends that were in the nightlife industry, and I started taking pictures of them. And it all just kind of snowballed from there. And then I started shooting professional wrestlers, and that kind of got me like to 60,000 followers, and wow. That was fun and everything. But now I'm just kind of trying to do a different change. I've changed my name on Instagram. I'm just going a different route. I got to kind of focus my attention on other things.
So are you still doing photography?
Yeah, I mean, I'll still do it. I kind of want to just dabble more into like fitness photography.
Oh, I like that.
And just focus on that because it's more of like what my brand is going to be now is more like fitness related. So I'm going to focus on that. But I'll still do photo shoots here and there. I still do some brand work, but that's about it.
So one day when we were shooting together, I have two stories. One story, we were on the beach. It was actually for Fitness Girls cover, right? So I remember us when we were walking to the beach, and I remember you telling me a few stories about just how you have ADD
Yeah.
or ADD and
ADHD. Yep.
ADHD,
Yep.
and how you kind of just feel like a lot of times your mind is just all over the place, and you feel like you can't get your thoughts straight sometimes. And I think a lot of us can relate to that. I know Sabby and I, I'm sure growing up you had a little bit of that with your
Absolutely.
hyper. That's
Yep.
where sports came into play, and we all have it a little bit, right? So I feel like even just now, and we'll get into your whole story and what you've done the last few months for sure. We want you to tell that story, but you now just your presence and talking to you the other day when we met at Sugar.
Sugaring NYC.
Sugar Bear,
Yeah. Sugaring NYC.
sugaring in NYC, and your whole demeanor is a much more relaxed demeanor. Your presence, I could tell right away. You just your mind is clear, and we spoke about that.
Yeah.
I talked to you about my
was
brothers.
thinking about that today, actually, because
Right. And it's so crazy because I mean, how long has this process been? I feel like it hasn't even been that long since you kind of started
I'd
this
say
change.
when I really dove in, and it's funny because I was thinking about this today. I actually mentioned this to you. I don't know if you remember this, but when I was
In the
at the
kitchen.
house in the
Yeah.
kitchen,
Yeah, absolutely.
I had just started like taking in like different practices and trying like implement habits into my life that I wasn't doing before. And one of those was like praying every morning. So I would get on my knees and pray every single morning. And that's something I started doing. And then what else was there? I make my bed every morning because I saw a podcast. The guy's like, if you make your bed
Absolutely.
every morning, you
Yeah.
have 10 times more of a chance of being a millionaire if you make your bed every day. So I was like, all right, well, let's give it a shot.
Love that.
So I started making my bed. I started listening to positive affirmations. I started doing that probably about a year ago. The whole thing, but I like the whole transformation, I think, started like 5 years ago when I stopped drinking. So, but then like at about a year and a half ago is when I really dove into like fitness and like self-improvement, you know, that's, so it's been about a year and a half.
Yeah. Which is awesome because obviously it's, there's a lot involved, and we obviously talk about this on the podcast a lot. Like, it's not just clearly physically, you look great now, but it's more about, your mental health and everything that you've been doing. And I think those little moments like making your bed in the morning,
Yeah.
they sound stupid or silly, or little things like praying and having a higher power, whatever that may be, make a huge difference. And consistency, right? Like we always talk about being consistent. And so I want to dive into a little bit of like some of your breaking points because I know you've spoke a little bit about it, and just like what were some of your breaking points of like, whoa, like light bulb went off and you were like, okay, I need change. I need to do something about this.
Sorry.
It's okay.
So I think, well, to give you a little backstory. So like I mentioned before, I got involved in nightlife, and getting involved in nightlife, I made a ton of money. I had a great time, but there was a lot of substance abuse. There was a lot of drinking, drugs, women, strippers, the whole nine.
Oh yeah.
And for the first, I'd say 5, 6, 7 years of living that lifestyle, it was okay. But then it took a turn, and then it was like, I was super, super depressed. Super stressed out, anxious, depressed. Like I'll be honest, there was like times I thought about killing myself. I've never but suicide popped in my head because I was just so fucking miserable.
Wow.
And I think one of the moments I started dating this really good girl, and she was absolutely awesome to me. She was probably her and I are actually like best friends now, but she
Yeah.
was one of the greatest people. And I just watched like the disappointment in her face all the time when like I would walk in and she knew I'd been doing cocaine, because she could tell. She could look at me and she could
Yep.
absolutely tell.
Yep.
And I would lie about it. And then, doing all these stupid things, I was like, caused me to make bad decisions and writing other girls and doing shit I shouldn't be doing. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, I'm breaking this girl's heart, and she was a big reason why I said, okay, I've got to start making some fucking changes, because this lifestyle ain't for me anymore.
Now, what age was that at? If you don't mind asking, what age?
I mean, that was honestly like, it's not that long ago. Like that's 5, 6 years ago. So
Yeah.
36 years old.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, math's not.
No. It's I'm so intrigued, man, because I love to hear these stories because it's something that people need to hear. And I feel like I was just talking to my boy about this actually. He's 39. And he's in a marriage that's not doing too good.
Yeah.
Not to bring it up, but I was also talking about, I think men really do start to mature and change their mindsets after 35, 36.
100%.
And I actually said to him today on the phone, even with me and Mandy and I feel like all the rockiness in us at the beginning was me.
Yeah.
Was my mentality of, mindset wasn't right. And it's like when we make that decision as a man, it's like it could change. And I feel like I just feel like everyone I talk to, it's like mid to late 30s. Yeah. We actually look in the mirror and we have to make a decision.
I had a girlfriend. I was chatting with her and she's going through a thing with her boyfriend. I'm like, how old is he? And she's like 32. I was like, give him a few more years.
Yeah. Well, it's true. And you do.
The women,
the women mature faster.
No, you're absolutely 100%. Right. Listen,
I have friends that are in their late 40s and their 50s and they're still doing this shit.
Of course.
Which blows me away.
Yeah. And that's what I wanted to bring up too when Sabby asked how old you were. Like, that's for all the listeners out there that age is just a number. It doesn't matter how old you are. We always talk about this, especially to my brother recently with a situation, and it's like it's never too late to start over or to change.
Absolutely not.
It's better to start now. 40 years old is not old.
No, it's not at all.
At all.
Not at all.
Well,
no.
42 is the new 32.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
I can tell you that at 42 years old right now, I'm in the best shape of my life. Mm-hmm. My head is clearer than it's ever been. I'm happier than I've ever been.
I love it.
There are times that I kind of get pissed off at myself. I wake up and say, why didn't I do this 10 years ago?
Yeah,
but then also I see a therapist and he's also like, give yourself grace. Don't ever beat yourself up. It's never too late. You're doing this now. Be happy you are where you are. And some of these things that I've done in the past, he said, wouldn't put me on the path that I'm on right now.
Yeah. Like
100%.
if you didn't do what you did at 31 to 35, you wouldn't appreciate where you're at today.
Exactly.
And I'm in the same boat too in my life experiences. But what I want to jump on one thing and maybe emphasize people listening, because we talk a lot about routine, discipline, right? When I was just hearing your story and you were talking about you in the nightlife, I know those hours are crazy. You're getting home at 3, 4, 5, 6 in the morning. You might be sleeping to 4 o'clock at night. You wake up, you have a meal, you go back to work. So there's no structure. No. There's no routine. And that, to me, we preach a lot. I think that alone will slide you into depression when you don't have a routine, you don't have a structure, you don't have like a daily time you wake up. And I think the nightlife can really mess you up. So
it's really bad.
Talk to me about today, what you do, your routine, and how physically working out changed your whole mindset. Because we preach that all the time.
I mean, people ask me, and especially since I started putting out like the vulnerable content and talking about like my story and how I got where I am right now. A lot of people ask me, they're like, well, what is it? How did you, your mental health, how did you do it? I was like, let me tell you something. The first fucking thing, go to the fucking gym.
Yep.
Just start working out, start sweating. Mm-hmm. Start sweating. Because I'm telling you, I truly believe that's really what put me where I am.
I love to hear that story.
As far as routines, I mean, I just do a little, like some small things. Like I wake up, like I said, I make my protein shake. I wake up, I eat my breakfast, I make my bed, I pray, I get on my knees, and that came from AA. I guess we can talk about that later. But when I was in AA, they told me to pray, and that was the one thing I didn't do. Yeah. And once I started doing that, things started changing for me.
Absolutely.
But got on my knees and prayed, get up, and I go straight to the gym. Get that sweat in, and then go to work. And I found a 9-to-5 job, and I'd never really worked a 9-to-5 in a long time. And I tell you what, getting up and watching the sunrise every morning, like it puts you in a different headspace.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Like you were mentioning about nightlife. For me, I was going to bed at 6, 7 in the morning. I remember driving home and watching people jogging down the road, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, these fucking people are crazy. Like, but now I'm like,
right?
I was I was the crazy one.
Yeah.
And I was the crazy one driving home at 7 o'clock in the morning. We'd go out after work, 10 o'clock in the morning.
Of course.
So, bad eating habits usually is always like that.
Yeah, and I completely changed up my eating habits. Like I was mentioning to you earlier, like I ate anything and everything. I just ate whenever I was hungry. I'd wake up, I'd go over to Taco Bell, I'd go to McDonald's. I mean, I ate like shit.
Yeah.
All my life. And once I started making these changes, that was one of the big things. I said, for the first time in my life, I'm gonna start eating healthy. I didn't get any I don't believe in all those crazy diets and stuff like that, any of the fad diets. I'm like, I just want to eat clean. So I eat like whole foods, no processed foods, and just, I count my calories every once in a while, but I don't focus too much on it. I just want to eat healthy. I cut out fast food. I cut out fried food. I was desserts. I went crazy for desserts.
And that was like my desserts.
Like I'm a chip guy.
We're opposite.
I
He's
cut
more
out
salt.
chips. I've been cutting out chips
I'm
a
more
lot.
sugar.
Chip was like my weakness.
Yeah.
I eat a bag of Doritos.
I would go to
TV.
Publix almost 4 or 5 nights a week and they have this carrot cake. It's unbelievable. So I'd get that. But for me, it was cookies and sweets and cakes and all that stuff. But I cut all that stuff
that out, huh?
Cut it all out.
Good for you, man. So that shows discipline.
And I got abs.
You got abs, man.
And I love it. You know what's funny? And this is a true story. I would tell people, like, I can't. I literally told people that I had genetics that couldn't. I wasn't able to get a 6-pack,
Right.
and I was like, it's just not my body type. I just can't do it. I just can't. And I truly
heard that before,
I
yeah.
believed that. I believed that, and all of a sudden I changed my diet out, and I'm looking in the mirror. I'm like, what is going
shit.
on? I still do. I still look around like that's me.
That's why I always tell people abs are made in the kitchen.
Yeah,
Like, you can
100%.
work out a ton, which some
and the
people
thing
do.
is, when I started getting abs, I wasn't doing a single fucking push-up or a sit-up.
Oh,
wasn't doing
for
anything.
Isn't that
sure,
crazy?
yeah.
No core, no sit-ups, no nothing. I was just eating better, and there you go.
I mean,
There they
this
are.
one is definitely a little bit freakish because
Yeah.
when I met Sabby,
Yeah.
his diet he's a lot better now, and he'd be eating chips all the time, and like he's an 8-pack, and I'm like, and
Yeah.
he works out a lot, so I get it. but
He's
it's
got
also,
a gift. He's got a
yeah,
little extra
there's some
gift.
genetic
But
freaks out there.
what's crazy is I'm getting older now.
Yeah.
I hit I'm in the
Yeah.
40
Yeah.
mark now,
Yeah.
and I can see it in my blood
Yeah.
more than like my blood work.
Yeah.
So when I get my blood work, like I'm like, I'm should be better right there. But again, I had to cut out the chips. I never ate like a lot of fast foods.
Yeah.
But like you said, if I was hungry and there was nothing around, I'd go get a cheeseburger from
Exactly.
the closest place
Yeah.
to get a cheeseburger
Yeah.
from,
Yeah.
right? So for me, as I hit 40, I'm trying to be a little more disciplined in the kitchen.
I think this is
you
the
know?
time you have to do
You
that.
have to
do it.
absolutely.
Because now that's when you start
Hormones,
seeing
your body changes.
Yeah.
You're not 20 anymore,
Nope.
where you can like just
Nope.
eat whatever you want.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, for sure.
what I also want to emphasize, you said something really intrigues me. You said right now you're the happiest you ever been.
Yeah.
You really think you're the happiest you've ever been because of the way you approach your everyday life now? Yeah, explain that because I'm intrigued by that.
I think it's obviously a combination of multiple things. I think that one, just my schedule and having these routines make me feel more productive. I think so.
Absolutely.
I think that is a big part of it. Like working a 9-to-5 job, not working in nightlife, like you said. I'm telling you that the nightlife will suck you dry.
Absolutely.
And all the people in it, a lot of them are hitting me up now. Like, hey man, like, how do you do it? Like, what
Yeah.
what did you do? I'm like, listen, you gotta
Get out of
You
there.
gotta get out of that shit.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think everybody does it. Like my brother was in it for a little
Yeah.
bit. My sister was in
Yeah,
it
I
for a little bit.
bartended
Yeah.
when
All
I was
my
younger.
friends-
I
at
did it for like 18 years.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
it's a
saying?
long time.
Like I thought that was my career. I'm like, I'm gonna open a bar. And I'm like, thank God, because that is the worst thing I could ever do.
It's funny because I didn't because I was always into sports, but all my friends did at
Yeah.
one point, right? Like I mean, my boy was the door guy at Blue Martini in,
Yeah,
in
yeah,
Miami.
yeah,
My
yeah,
brother
yeah.
worked at Blue Martini in Florida. My sister,
I used to DJ at Blue Martini.
yeah. So when I used to
funny.
go in a lot and visit everybody, I would see it. But the funny thing was, people would always talk about the older person still there. Like they'd be like, "Why is this
Yeah.
bartender still
Yeah.
there? She's like 40."
Yeah.
Or a guy like, "Well,
Yeah.
he's like 40." So
there's a
it's-
guy at every bar like that.
Well, the
Of
thing is,
course.
but it's funny. Like I think people have an understanding in your 20s. It's okay.
yeah.
Okay. Maybe a little bit in your 30s, but then it's like, okay, guys, you're still working a nightlife and you're only about to be 40.
Yeah.
I don't think it's good mentally, like
No,
you said, and
no.
it started to destroy you.
So I mean, yeah, like I said, so kind of touching on what you were saying. So having a schedule, 9 to 5, seeing the sunrise, that was a big part of it. Obviously, hitting the gym on a daily basis. I'm a little crazy about it now. I mean,
Yeah, I told
love it.
Sabby already. I said,
Yeah.
you do need to talk to him about
Yeah.
recovery.
Yeah,
I need to
though,
talk to you about
because
that.
I went to an F45 class with you, and
Yeah.
it was an amazing workout, I
Yeah.
will say. But you did tell me that you do like your
I do,
crunch, F45.
and CrossFit now. I
Oh
go to
my
I go to
gosh.
F45 in the morning. I do CrossFit.
Don't
in the
burn
evening.
yourself
I know.
So-
everyone says that, but
the agenda.
getting in shape, I think, helps with the confidence.
Absolutely.
Because to be honest with you, that's one of the things I've had self-esteem and confidence issues growing up my whole life.
Yeah.
And then once you like start realizing, and then I don't want to sound vain or anything, but when girls start looking at you and
Yeah.
it's just it makes you feel good.
Definitely.
So the confidence levels rose because of the working out, the 9 to 5 schedule, instilling the
Structure.
the structure, instilling the habits and stuff in my life. Just all of it together just made me feel better, a lot better.
Yep.
Because before my life was fucking chaos.
And when it's chaos, it's very hard to reflect.
Yeah.
And everything is just it's like you said, it's all over the place. And another thing is and this is like, right now, or I was on prep for my competition. It's like people don't realize that it's such a mind game, because when you physically feel better, you mentally feel better.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
they
100%.
definitely
And
go
everyone can
hand in
see it.
hand. Yeah,
People
exactly.
treat you differently 'cause they
exactly.
can see
Your
it.
whole presence when you walk into a room.
Yeah.
So you said chaos, right? Structure. And then you said earlier you make your bed now.
Yeah.
I actually read a stat. If you don't make your bed, you feel like your day's in chaos because you
Yeah.
come home and your bed's not made,
Let me
right?
tell you, and-
Littlest thing in the world.
And this is a true story because it's happened a few times. I will get up sometimes and maybe I'm up a little late and I'm not thinking I'm moving too quick. and I leave without praying and making my bed, I will drive. If I drive 10 miles down the road, I will turn my ass back around and go back to my house.
I love it.
Because it throws off my day.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
it throws off my
for
day, and
sure.
I'll think about it, and I'll be like, oh shit. And now my day's fucked. I'm like, and then I also, when I drive to work, I listen to like a positive morning affirmation. That's another part of like my habits
I
and
like
stuff.
that.
It's like 10 minutes of just like all these, nice things. And I know it word for word, so I'll repeat it as I'm going. And
Love that.
But even like you said, the confidence of you working out. I've always said this. I had somebody ask me a question about about a year ago now, and somebody asked me, like, you're retired, why do you stay in such good shape? And I remember, without even thinking, my answer was, because it's my power.
yeah.
And when I say that, I mean it's our power as men, women, that it's our confidence that you can't take from me. Knowing that there's no better feeling, in my opinion, of putting on a nice outfit, like putting on a shirt that fits you good, and you walk into a room and you worked your ass off that day, and no one in that room outworked you in the gym, and that they can't take that from you, brother. They can't take that confidence from you. So for me, it's like I never wanted people to say about me, oh, Sabby used to be a great athlete, or Sabby used to be in great shape.
I saw a meme, and it was talking about how they don't want to grow up to be that old 60-year-old, 65-year-old grandpa going, this was me back in the day.
Right,
Let's keep it going.
Yeah.
I'll be 65, and I want to be in the best shape of my life.
I say that all,
100%.
and I always say it's you versus you, because you don't compare yourself to anybody else, number one, and you also don't compare yourself to yourself 10 years ago, right? It's going to be disappointments, right? But you can compare yourself to yesterday in a sense of be the best version of yourself at whatever age you're at. 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, whatever it is. Be at the most elite shape. And to me, that's why I challenge people that are not happy in life, that are going through depression, that think they're in a rut, they have no structure. And I say, listen, do a 6-week challenge. Get in the best shape of your life. And if you're still depressed, which I don't think you will be, then maybe go to see a doctor. But these guys, they go see doctors, they get prescription drugs, they get all these pills, and all of a sudden, these doctors got you on 3 or 4 pills. Meanwhile, they ain't doing shit. If you actually just take care of yourself physically, like Mandy says, then all of a sudden your physical gets into play, and then your mental gets into play. Now you're at peace, right? Now, and even like, it's kind of like I went to therapy, right? My story was, I remember in 2018, I had 3 surgeries. I lost my dog. It was the roughest year of my life. And the reason why was because I couldn't train. I couldn't work out. My therapy was gone.
Terrible.
It's like my nightmare.
And I didn't realize at the time why, but I was so deep in depression. I had anxiety for the first time in my life. I went to therapy all 2019, and those therapists teach you so much about the pillars of life and the pillars of what makes you tick. And they taught me that, like, you have an obsessity, but that's okay. Your obsessity has to be put in a good place, right? And I look at your story, man. You look great. I mean, even since you were at the house a year ago, you look like you transformed. And I love it, man. I'm good for you, and I hope people listening can really take something from this.
Yeah, on the obsession thing, like it's borderline. I sometimes feel a little crazy, but once you get to that point, it's just like they say, like, to me now, the rest days are harder than getting to the gym. Back when you first start, it's like getting to the gym. Now it's for me taking a rest day. But my mom actually, she was kind of giving me a hard time because I told her, I was like, I have 3 gym memberships, and she's like, you're paying for 3 gym memberships? And I'm like, yeah, I got 3 gym memberships. I like a little change of scenery. They're all for different things. I got this for my high intensity interval training, and I got this for lifting weights, and I got this for this. And she's like, you know what, you're addicted, you're obsessed. And I'm like, would you rather me go back to being addicted to fucking drugs and alcohol and cocaine and strippers, or do you want me to be obsessed with making myself better and feeling better?
And that's exactly what I was just going to bring up, because I've dealt with a lot of addiction in my family, and my brothers, and goes throughout my mom's side of the family and whatnot. But I really truly believe that if you do have a little bit of an addictive personality, which I think we all do in somewhat, finding the gym to be your obsession, and you have to have balance. I'm not saying you got to be crazy and three gym memberships. To be honest, I can't even say anything.
I have 4. I have 4 now. So.
See, I actually have like 2, I think, so I can't really say much. But I do agree with like channeling that and making sure, if you are obsessed with working out, and my brother recently kind of went through some changes, and he's been at the gym. That's the first day that we got him a membership up north, and he just texted me today, and he said, I haven't had 1 day off. He's like, I love it. Yeah. And I was like, okay, well, you can take a break. I don't want you to, pull something, God forbid, or whatever. But that you become obsessed with it, and he's doing his meetings and doing all that. But they told him specifically too, like you said, because you went through that AA, like, if you don't have a higher power, whatever that may be, we're praying or whatever it is, and having a hobby that's going to take your mind off of things when you do get in that rut and you think back about your past, or you have that guilt of, oh, I wish I should have done this sooner, or whatever it may be. You have to have that fix. And I think it's normal. It doesn't make you, crazy that you're now obsessed with the gym.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a great thing.
Yeah, people,
Like
I mean,
you said, there
some people
could be
say
a lot
shit to me
worse.
like,
Yeah.
but I was going to touch on kind of what you were just talking about, the higher power thing, and real quick about like AA. When I first, like, I hit like an all-time low. I was just ridiculously, I was 35 at the time or whatever it was, and I had a kid, and I'm like going out and I'm partying all night, and I'm sleeping with random girls, and I'm doing all this shit, and I'm like, I just woke up one day, I'm like, fuck this lifestyle. I feel like shit about myself. This isn't like, this might have been cool when I was 21, but it ain't cool anymore. So called my buddy. I was like, hey, are you still going to AA? And he's like, yes. I'm like, all right, I'm going with you. Let's do this. I'm ready to stop. So we get into AA. The one thing that was like always keeping me from it was the religious side of it, because I hadn't really had religion as a big part of my life, and when you, like, I've had some people that try to suck me in, and it was like a weird experience. So I was kind of like iffy about that side.
Yep.
And we get in there, and I had my guy, what is it? I can't think right. My brain's fried.
I know what you're talking about. Not your coach, but
I
your.
hope you can cut this out.
The your
Why are you drawing
sponsor,
a
sponsor,
sponsor? Yeah.
sponsor.
I'm like drawing a
So
blank too.
I don't know. It was weird. So I had my sponsor, and he brought up. He's like, "All right, we got to talk about higher power and all this stuff." And I'm like, "Higher power?" I was like, "Okay." And he's like, "It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter." He's like, "It could be that fucking chair sitting in the corner. Okay, just pick something." I go, "Okay, Dwayne the Rock Johnson. He's a fucking animal. That guy."
Right.
So I was just joking around. But when I went through AA, I got sober, but my life didn't get better. My life was still kind of shitty. I was making really bad decisions. I was doing a lot of stupid shit. My life was still chaos. And that's why when I was sitting there one day, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do what they told me to do, and I'm going to get on my knees and pray every morning. And then when I started doing that, like I said earlier, it's like things started happening. It just like life got better. And listen, I'm not a big religious guy, but I'm definitely spiritual. I believe in energies. I believe in karma. I believe in
Absolutely.
You putting good out in the earth, you're gonna get good back. But now now it's like I do pray twice a day. It's like,
well, my brother,
and I
my
make sure
brother
it's
said
always
the
about gratitude. It's always about thank you.
Exactly.
It's so funny you say that, man. We've spoke plenty of times on this. My same routine. I don't go to bed ever without getting on my two knees, and I pray every night. And then I don't start my day now until 10 minutes of meditation, prayer, and gratitude.
Nice.
I walk outside and I literally just thank God for every blessing I have in my life. I thank God for Mandy every day. And that's the first thing I do every morning. And when I switched my attitude to gratitude, things changed like that.
Yeah.
And even like something like, I'm loving your story right now because I'm 40 and I'm the happiest I've ever been in my life. And it's crazy because I look back, I don't have a job, right? I retired from the NFL and WWE. And how can I be the happiest person? Because I was the most obsessed person for so long, right? I wanted to be the best football player, college pros, and then I wanted to be the best WWE superstar. And I was so obsessed that I didn't enjoy life in other aspects, right? I was like so obsessed with it. So now I thought I'd be devastated when I didn't have something to chase. Like I feared like not being a pro athlete. But when I actually stopped being a pro athlete and I fell in love with Mandy and our relationship got 10 times better and our world got 10 times better. And I felt like my connection with God got a lot closer. Now, I was always a religious person, right? I went to Catholic school, I prayed, but I think that the difference for me was the attitude of gratitude in the morning changed everything. And I know even now I struggle with some stuff, right? I struggle mentally with some stuff. And when I do, I take a moment, I stop and I say, God, take it from me.
Yeah.
Take this worry from me. Take this stress from me. I know God has me where he wants me. But again, your story is so inspiring because men out there, it's never too late to change, number one, right? And you're a perfect example of what we preach on this podcast because I'm a firm believer is if you don't have your mental or physical health, you can't be a good significant other. You can't be a good man. You can't be a good woman. You can't be a good father. You can't be a good wife, whatever it is. I just don't believe if you're not happy with yourself physically,
How do you take care of other
how are
people?
you going to make other people
Exactly.
happy, right?
Exactly.
Yep.
So that's something that I love, and I'm watching your story, and I think it's even more impressive that you went from military to nightlife to drug life to living the wrong life, and we all done it, right? We all been, but for you to climb out of it, and find this world really excites me to see it, man. And it's really intriguing,
appreciate that.
and I hope people listen and really understand what you've been through, and it's not easy. It's not easy. So these people listening should know that it shouldn't be easy, right? Like nothing's worth fighting for is easy, right? So
yeah, it's very inspiring, and I think it goes back to even like you said when you went to those AA meetings and it did help you, stop drinking. But I think the more I learn about it as well is that it really, when they say higher power, it really helps with those triggers, right? Because we're all human, and whether you're
you gotta believe in something.
Exactly. Whether you're an addict or not, it doesn't matter. We all get triggered by things. Unfortunately, addicts, when they get triggered by something, they, result to a drink or a drug or whatever it may be. So I think I'm starting to understand it so much more, and I do want to learn even more about it and get more involved because of my family and everything. And it is very important because I think they preach about it so much because
Because it works.
it works.
Yeah.
And your attitude to gratitude, if you focus on, wow, I'm just so thankful to be here, because let's be honest, a lot of addicts in a room,
At a minimum, it's
they might not be
putting
there.
a mind like you're putting like a changing your mindset.
Exactly.
And
You're
no matter-
rewiring a little bit.
You're like constantly putting something positive in your brain,
Yep.
and it's just like you don't realize it, but in the back, I think it's really just making you enjoy life more. It's making you more happy.
It's a whole mindset, because you, instead of focusing on the negative, because for instance, my brother recently, right, went through some changes and all that. When he was under the influence of things, he was so negative. I think I told you this the other day about it. And he was the farthest thing from a negative person, growing up. Out of all of us, the most positive, had, and he went through a stage, a rough time of his life, that everything was like negative. And I'm like, who is this? I'm like, you're so negative. And like, he was hiding a lot of things and demons and whatnot. Now it's like, it's amazing being clean and what his attitude is, and like how he doesn't even stress over the things that he was stressing over. And to be honest, he's got a long road. It's not like he's, you don't get out of there and you're like, oh wow, this is great, I'm free now. It's like,
it's a
you're
constant
free.
thing. I mean,
Yeah, it's
I'm
a
gonna be
constant
doing-
battle.
trying
it's
to
an
get better
everyday
for life,
battle.
for life.
Exactly.
Everyday battle.
And you got to kind of start again from scratch, whether it's financial, you all know it's not cheap.
I'm always trying to find like what's the next step, like where, like I always have to give myself something else. Like once I have a goal, I get to that goal, I was like, well, what am I going to do next? Like what should I?
You always gotta
what
improve.
what can I add into my life to make it better? What can I do to make my life better? What's another? I never wrote and planned. I have a planner now,
Write things down.
and I'm setting goals, and I'm learning how to set goals properly and
Love
making
that.
the smaller goals and to reach a bigger goal. But like always constantly thinking, what's the next move? What's the next step? How can I get better? How can I make my life better? And I think I'll be doing that for the rest of my life.
You will be.
100% will be.
Definitely.
Coach Gruden used to say a saying. I actually put it on my Instagram a couple of days ago because it just came up. Coach Gruden used to say something before practice every day. I know he was implying it to practice, but you can apply it to life. He would say, every day you're getting better, you're getting worse. There's no such thing as staying the same, right?
Yep.
And he used to say that for practice, but I apply it to life. Every day is an opportunity to get better.
Yeah.
Every day is an opportunity to improve. And here's the beautiful thing about the fitness thing. You're never going to walk into the gym, look in the mirror and be like, all right, I'm there, I'm done.
Yeah, I'm done.
And walk
Right.
out.
It's
It's,
never
it's
like
a
that.
constant,
Yeah.
it's a constant door, right? It's
Yeah.
called, you always need to improve somehow, lift more weight, get more reps. And for me, that's I think what I love about the process is there is no end goal.
No end goal.
I'm just trying to be better than I was yesterday
Yep.
at one aspect of it, right? And even like Mandy and you guys both talked about the obsessity,
Yeah.
right? That's what I struggle with about, and I've openly said this, and maybe I'm being wrong when I say this. I don't emphasize with people that get addicted to drugs.
Yeah.
Because I think we all have an obsessive personality, but it's our job to put it into the right space,
Yeah.
right? And now look at you. Yours is in the right space. You're openly admitting you were obsessed. Right? I was obsessed.
Yeah.
She has an obsessive personality. So the thing is, we're all born with an addictive personality, but where are you going to put that addiction?
I mean, everyone's probably has an addiction to something.
100%.
Yeah, and I think there's levels to it. I think there's some people that are tamed more, and they're but I think there's a lot of variables and factors and upbringings and families and also genetics, but also the who you surround yourself with. We all know, Tell me who your friends. Show me your friends.
Thing, like right now that
Tell
I'm,
me who you are.
Like,
It's crucial who you're around.
Right?
I actually think I shared it. It said
I saw that.
Hang
yeah.
out, with six smokers, or hang out with five smokers, you'll be the sixth. Hang out with five fit people, you'll be the sixth. You know,
Yep.
it's kind of like, and
Show me your friends.
I've really
I'll
made
tell you your future.
I've made my
true.
circle really, really, really small, and I just, especially getting out of nightlife. I mean, that helped
Yeah.
because I cut out a lot of those. And they're all wonderful people. I don't
Yeah,
want to say that
no.
they're bad, but like just the lifestyles they were living.
The lifestyle.
I started picking up those
It
traits.
comes down to energy.
Yeah.
Right? If you put yourself around that energy, and like we've been talking right now about just the simple affirmation of gratitude, right? Mandy made a good point earlier. We all, in everyday life, we all have something we could be negative about. But
Yeah.
why focus on that?
Yep.
Why don't you just focus on, because honestly, it's a privilege just to be up and
Yeah.
breathing. It's
Yeah.
a privilege to have the ability to go work
Yeah,
out.
that-
It's a
yeah.
privilege to breathe air and live the day. So like, if you focus on those, the negativity will kind of just slowly
Yeah.
get out of your head. And I think that's another thing is what you want energy wise.
Yeah.
And what you put out there, like you said, will come back to you. I'm a firm believer of that.
I believe I believe
don't
in
care what
that. I
anyone
believe
says.
in like what's meant to be will be. Like
Yep.
there's a lot of things now that have happened in my life that I know me 10 years ago would have handled it completely differently. And I've learned to like just kind of, I wouldn't say control my emotion, but control the way I react to
Yes.
certain situations and to certain like emotions. Because, if there's nothing I can do about it, why try to like
Absolutely.
waste my energy? I
Right.
just, again, think about the things that I can go to the gym.
Yep.
I'm able to do
You're
that.
able to
Some
do
people,
that.
some people
Yeah.
would die to be able to go to the gym because
Yeah.
maybe they're, they've got injuries, but
Right.
you got to be
And
happy.
getting to that, it's like one of those things too. And you've brought this up in the past about, trying not to stress on like what's next. Like for instance, Sabby was, obviously made it to the NFL. Then he went to WWE. And then afterwards he kind of, he's like, okay, well, what's next? But he brings it up sometimes. And I'm kind of in that stage as well. It's like, okay, well, that's behind me. Now what's next? But if you focus every day and you're like, get stressed out about it, I think, the opportunities don't really come because you're limiting yourself. Whereas I think when you stay open and you take risk, for instance, now you've obviously got into the fitness world. You're now teaching F45 classes, which is cool. And also you're, starting the online coaching and there's just going to be so many more opportunities that are going to follow that,
Yeah.
that you're going to be like, whoa, where was all this? But it was like, no, you just weren't the person that you are today. And that's why they weren't there.
That's a thing that I also think about. Like the craziest thing, I was actually driving home from my first coaching class at F45 and I'm like thinking to myself, I'm like, if you'd have told me a year and a half ago that I would have a six pack and I'd be coaching a fucking fitness class, I'd be like, you're out of your damn mind. What are you talking about? But here I am. I mean, and fitness has become such a huge part of my life to the point where now it's like, I'm doing it professionally and I'm making money from it. And it's just, it's wild. And it's all about manifesting, I think.
And
Yep.
you know what's so amazing about that? I'm so glad you shared that story because we all struggle from that. Everybody has that moment in life, like what's next? But I always said I'm a firm believer. The only thing that follows hard work is results.
Yeah.
It might not always be the result
exactly
you're
what-
working
yeah.
for, but it's going to be a good result.
Work hard, do the right thing, and shit will just happen.
Like for instance, you just wanted to get in great shape to feel better. Now you have a job that you're actually in great shape and helping other people get in
Yep.
great shape, and you're making money off of
Yeah.
it. And that's what I actually tell Mandy too. Like, and the mindset that even the point of life I'm in is like, that's why every day I wake up and I bust my ass
Mm-hmm.
Monday through Friday in the gym because I know it's gonna give us opportunities for other things to come about, right?
And even the relationships that I've made and the friendships and stuff,
100%.
just like it's
Yeah.
all. There's nothing negative about living that lifestyle.
Nope.
It's all been
so
positive. It's all
beautiful.
been
All
amazing.
positive.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, man, because we don't know what's next. And I used to have a saying, let go, let God, right? I let
Yep,
go,
yep.
give it to God. And that's the thing is like, I've been through a lot of ups and downs in my life. So for me, the only way I got through it was to give it all to God. Stay on my knees, be humble.
Yep.
And I remember a saying that I told Mandy this when I got out of the NFL and I couldn't understand why I couldn't get back in. God kept whispering to me. He said, that saying, it says, he who humbles himself will be exalted, but he who exalts himself will be humbled. And that really resonated with me.
that.
And I didn't really realize what I actually, this is scary. I actually saw that saying like 6 times in like a 2-month span.
Yeah.
I saw
It's
it at
crazy.
church. I saw it like on a bill. It was just, I was like, oh my gosh, God is
Yeah,
talking to me.
100%.
And it was actually what he was trying to tell me, what he wanted from me on my next career path. He wanted me to humble myself.
Yeah.
He's like, I got it. Just relax. And for
And your
me,
whole personality, sorry to cut you off.
it's not that.
but has changed so much dramatically
Yeah.
too since when I met you, when you were still kind of, you were a little rough when I met you, as far as like
The obsessities.
your obsessity, and like it was, sometimes in the beginning I'd be like, oh, I don't know, like, because it's all fine, he wasn't a big drinker, it wasn't about that, but it was like he was just so obsessed with a lot of things that it was
Yeah.
like he didn't want to kind of just sit there and relax, or it was too much, or like, and now he's able to have coffee in the
enjoy
morning
life.
and enjoy
Yeah, it's all
life
about.
It's a balance.
and sit on a
Yeah.
rocking chair in the front and actually like
I need to do that. I
you
need,
need to get a rocking chair.
Yeah.
I don't know, something about these rocking
Yeah.
chairs.
Yeah,
we got
are
one in
like,
New York, and I
it's
was
New York,
like-
yeah. And he's, my mom laughs, oh, Sabby really loves the rocking chair, but I'm like, it's so amazing to see because he gets excited over those little things when we should be getting excited over that. Like, we should be grateful
Those
that
are
we're
those
able
moments
to.
where you just chill and take it all
Yeah.
in
Yes.
and reflect.
Exactly.
Like I do that. So I have like a little community pool, and at night I'll go. No one's out there. I'll go lay down in one of the the lounge
Love
chairs,
it.
and I'll look up at the sky, and I'll just be like, this is absolutely
moment.
fucking amazing.
Take a
Yeah.
You know?
Well,
Life's
before,
too short.
this has been an amazing podcast. Before we end up, talk a little bit about what you're doing now. Talk about your career. Any advice you want to give out there? Just kind of talk a little bit about everything that you got going on.
Well, like I said, I mean, I dug my nails into the whole fitness thing, so I want to help people. And actually, I was sitting with my therapist, and we were chatting about it, and he's like, "You're missing something in your life." And he's like, I think you need to help people, and actually that's what kind of drove me. I started, he said, start posting content, just about, and the response has been crazy. I'm getting all sorts of people writing me, but doing this, I wanted to get back and start talking more at AA meetings. And then the whole, I went and got my personal trainer certification. And then for some reason I was like, wait, online coaching. And I don't remember how it popped in my head, but here's an opportunity for me to help people.
Yeah.
And not just going to be about fitness, but it's going to be about, your mentality, fitness, nutrition, and just, having a more positive outlook on life. So I'm working on that. I'm putting together, a business from the ground up, and, I should launch it in the next few weeks. But if you want to follow me on Instagram, it's J Hutter Coaching.
Awesome. Love it.
Hutter.
Yeah, we'll put your on the when
Definitely.
it comes out.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Cool.
Listen,
And I think it'll be really rewarding and extremely
Yeah.
inspiring for yourself too, because
Absolutely.
they
It's
always say to help others.
It's crazy to, like, just from posting the content I have in the last 2 weeks, because I have like a success coach who's like,
Yeah.
you need to put out 4 posts this week, and it's got to be vulnerable posts, one educational, and I got people just literally, I at least 10 people in the last 5 days have written me, hey, can you help me with this? Can I chat with you about this? And I, give it out. We're not charging anyone, but
Yeah.
helping people, and I like doing that.
But the cool part is people that look at you, and I always tell Sabby this too, because I always tell him the more vulnerable the better, because we're all human, right? But people might look at us, all of us sitting here, and think, oh wow, their life is so amazing.
Yeah.
It must be so perfect to look like that and to be that, and they see social media or
it's
whatever
not
it
the
may
case.
be, and it's
Social
not the
media is so
case.
fake.
It's so fake.
it makes everyone.
But to show someone like you that went through so much and got through it, and there is a light at the end of the tunnel. It's hope for people, and I think it's very inspiring for other people listening. I think it's extremely amazing, not only for yourself but your family, your son. I'm sure
Yep.
you're gonna have a much better life with your son, and he's gonna see it. The kids aren't dumb, like. They're so smart. So I just think it's amazing, and we're really proud of you. So
Thank
we're
you.
really grateful to have you on here
Thank
as
you. I
well.
appreciate being
Yeah,
here.
absolutely, guys. Please go check them out. Go follow them. Get all the health tips. We talk about it all the time. If this man can do it, anybody can do it. It's never too late to start. Really, if you're struggling with something in life, take that challenge. Take that 6-week challenge. Get in the gym. Become a better version of yourself. And I promise you, things in life will just start falling into place. Wake up every day, work hard, be consistent, have a routine, and I promise you, you can do whatever you want to do.
And don't ever be afraid to ask for help either.
Yeah,
It's always
Absolutely.
good.
JR, listen, man, thank you,
Thanks,
man. Good
JR.
luck on
I
everything.
appreciate you.
And maybe we'll get a workout someday, brother.
Yeah,
it.
we should.
Thanks, man.
Definitely.
Thanks,
Thank you
bro.
guys for listening. You can follow us on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, as well as OnlyFans TV. And we'll see you guys next time.